Welcome to the OK Let's Learn podcast. This is two podcasts in one where we dive into tons of great stories and books, and another where we just dive into tons of great, interesting topics. My name is Kevin O'Keefe. So today, let's learn all about the great blue heron. Yes, it's not a stork, it's not a crane, it looks similar. But boy, is it stealth. Is it sneaky? Is it a predator? So, right near a brook, you got to picture this. So yes, this great blue heron lives right down the street from me, near this brook. And it hangs out on a rock, like I said, like a statue, tall. And it's always looking. But it's perfectly still, and then all of a sudden it takes off. It's about 4 feet tall, but when it takes off down the length of this brook, its wingspan is 6 feet from end to end. It's a beautiful, graceful bird, and it's unlike anything that you'll see out and about in your suburban neighborhoods, through the woods. And I tell you what, it's slow, it's smooth, and it's almost like the water itself. This is one of the largest birds in North America. Like I said, 4 feet tall, the wingspan is 6 feet. Its body is mostly bluish gray with a long neck that curves. Take a look at this picture of this bird. The neck curves almost like a question mark. It's got a sharp yellow beak, almost like a spear, and it's got these long, thin legs that are built and designed, right, for wading through the water. And its eyes, like I said, are always watching. So it loves, like I said, any kind of low, shallow waters, creeks, brooks, little rivers, ponds, marshes, anywhere, frankly, where there's fish in shallow water. When you see a heron and it's standing there, perched quietly on that rock that's just above the surface of, like I said, a stream, well, that's classic behavior. These birds just don't live near water. They depend on it. They often return to the same exact fishing spot day after day. So, hey, the reason I'm seeing it every time I'm walking Jasper along this brook is this is where it lives and survives. Why? Well, in this particular creek, they are always stocking it with trout. So it's not just fast. Like I said, it waits. And I mentioned this now, this is the third time. It stands completely still, sometimes for minutes at a time, waiting for the perfect moment. And then suddenly it strikes. Its neck shoots forward faster than your eyes can follow. What does it eat? Of course, fish, but also frogs, small snakes, crayfish, and even small mammals or birds. That long beak, it works like a fishing spear. Their behavior. Herons are known for their calm and focused behavior, like I've mentioned. They move slowly, carefully. They hunt alone. They're solitary, right? They don't work in groups. And they fly with their neck tucked in, unlike many other birds. So when they fly, they almost look like the prehistoric bird, that pterodactyl, but they did not evolve from them. And just so you know, there's these other herons that are out there, or other birds that are similar. You got this tricolored heron, which has got this darker white belly. And yes, instead of the great blue heron, there's the little blue heron, which is smaller and it's actually slimmer. And then you've got this reddish egret. You've got the great egret, and you've got the white morph great blue heron. So you've got basically a lot of the plumage, a lot of the feathers, different colors. So you've got a lot of herons out there, but at least here, North America, the great blue heron is absolutely the most widely, in my opinion, most widely known. So is it a stork? Yes and no. It's compared to a stork because they're tall, they're both tall, they both have long legs, they both have long necks, and they're both found near the water, but they're actually different kind of birds. They're different primarily in how they fly, what their bills look like, and really how they hunt. The storks fly with their necks fully extended. That's not the case with the blue heron. Their necks are tucked into this S shape. And the blue herons, their bills, they're sharp, they're more dagger-like, and they hunt by standing still, ready to pounce. But the storks, well, their bills are more thick and they're heavier, and they actually actively probe for food. So basically, the storks are just walking around through the creek, probing for fish and crabs, and the herons, no, they're sitting still, they're waiting, and then they pounce, they strike quickly. So the key difference, obviously, like I said, how they hunt, how they behave, what their bills look like. But how about this one? Their voice. Herons? They got these raucous calls, really harsh. The storks, they're almost like silent, and they're relying more on their bill clattering for the way that they communicate. And actually, in terms of how they look, obviously the great blue heron has got this grayish blue feathers. Like I said, they're more slender, they're more vertically standing up, and the storks, believe it or not, they're a little bit more heavy set, a bit more stout. But clearly, our image of the stork is such that, very similar to the blue heron in terms of how they fly with their outstretched wings, but they are different. Now, I have to address this. You may be thinking, about the storks, they're delivering the babies. Well, this came from Europe, mostly countries from Germany, Netherlands, where they believe that storks delivered babies. And the idea came from the fact that storks built their nest often on rooftops, and they returned every year, kind of like symbolizing family and life. And they were certainly gentle, watchful birds, right? The storks, even though we talked about so often about the statue like with the herons, no, the storks were just kind of hanging out and, more docile, so to speak. But the herons, they didn't get that storytelling role, but obviously they're just as fascinating. Now, their typical day, early in the morning, they're hunting, midday, they're resting, afternoon, more hunting. At night, they're flying back to their nesting area. And they actually call their nesting area, how about this one? A rookery. They are creatures of routine, patience, precision. And here to wrap up our podcast, how about this? Here's some very amazing, cool facts about the great blue heron. I mentioned they can stand completely still. Well, minutes, sometimes 5 minutes or more. They have special bones in their neck that let it snap forward. When they swallow fish, one whole gulp, and it's gone. It's down that long neck. They can hunt during the day or at night. Their nest actually can be pretty big, almost as big as like a small table. They can live. How long do they live? Up to 15 years. And when they flap their wings, they flap slowly and gracefully, about 2 flaps per second. And the babies, you would never know this, but baby herons are called chicks. They sometimes drop food in the water to attract the fish. Talk about being covert. Talk about being sneaky. And talk about the fish that they can eat. Sometimes the fish can be as long as their beak. They can see really well at night. They have excellent night vision. And yes, how long have they been around? Millions of years. A few other points. If there's a windy day, because of how, again, they take advantage of everything being quiet and still and they pounce, well, they adjust their hunting style based on the weather. If it's a windy day or the water's moving, they may actively walk and chase the prey instead of standing still. They can nest very high off the ground. Sometimes their nests are built 100 feet up in trees. Both parents raise the kids. Male and female herons share their responsibilities, taking turns feeding and protecting their chicks. And yes, crazy fun facts about the animal kingdom. There's just so many. They actually regurgitate their food for their chick. Instead of bringing whole fish to the nest, the parents partially digest their food and bring it back up. Here you go, honey. Boy, oh boy. Young herons also learn by practicing. The juvenile herons often spend their time awkwardly stalking and missing prey before they become their skilled hunters. So they work together as a family. It's really interesting. Just as our kids, we model behavior and they watch us and they're a little awkward, they're learning. It's fascinating because as I've gone through many podcasts with many different animals, it seems like they're born and instinctually they can hunt, they can behave properly, but not in this case. And a few more final facts. They have special powdered down feathers. Listen to this. These feathers crumble into like a fine powder that the heron spreads over its body to clean off a lot of the fish slime and oils that build up. So it's kind of like their feathers, that covers their skin. It's like this built-in cleaning system. And I mentioned that they can swallow their food whole, but they are prone to choking on this food. If the fish is too large or it's shaped weird, it occasionally can get stuck. And so it's a real risk while they feed. And finally, this really warms my heart. If you've got a blue heron, a great blue heron, in your stream that's nearby your woods where you live, you know what? This signals that you've got a healthy ecosystem. Animals, plants thrive, nothing's polluted, everything's healthy. Hey, the great blue heron really offers something different. It doesn't rush, it doesn't chase, it waits. It's still, but yet, if you're a fish, run away, get away if you see it. I tell you what, if you're not a fish, you're walking through the woods, walking by a stream, take a look, observe, and just like the blue heron, wait, you may see one if you're lucky. Friends, thanks for staying with me on this journey, learning all about the great blue heron out there in suburbia, all over the world, near these brooks, these marshes, these streams. It's a fascinating bird. Reach out to me at kevmok21@gmail.com. We are on YouTube, so subscribe and follow, especially if you love podcasts. Please subscribe, hit that plus button up in the top right-hand corner, and that will get you notifications with every new episode. We have a Facebook group, OK, Let's Learn. And until next time, have fun and keep learning.